Southeast Customs, and I'm here to talk about the Gold Board project. It's a total custom board, new grip tape, and trucks and wheels, and everything is new except for the board. So I'm going to take my shirt off and show you how it's done. We're going to be replacing grip tape today. And on the Flex Decks, we actually have 2 sections of grip tape, and I would like a full-on skateboard of grip tape. I've got some pretty snazzy stuff I got off Amazon. I can't wait to install it. But the first thing we got to do is take it off. What you're going to want to do is heat it up with something like this, a blow dryer, and go around the perimeter with a razor blade. I got one from the grocery store, just in this little pack thing. You can find them at your local hardware store. Anyway, we're going to heat it up in sections, and then you're going to go around the corners. You're going to go around the perimeter, excuse me, with your blade. So after you've heated the area, you're going to want to take your blade, and you don't want to have it be flat, right? Because you can actually cut right through your grip tape. I was peeling at it, so that's not a very great example, but you'll actually cut right through your grip tape, right? So you want to actually have it, excuse my autofocus, you're going to want to actually have it at about a 90-degree angle. You're going to pull it through. It's hard to do one-handed, as you see here. Okay. Just again, the one-handed thing has got me. You just pull it through. This is what we want to avoid, but and you would do this all the way around your perimeter. As you do get it away from the board, you're going to want to fold it up. Just like this here. And it's always easier and better to just heat it up if you're having trouble, as opposed to fighting it. You're going to slip, you're going to cut yourself, you're going to hurt something, you're going to hurt the board. Just heat it up. It's a lot faster and easier. Sometimes it's actually faster to work slower. So once we go around the whole perimeter of the board, what we're going to have is, it's going to look like this, right? Then what we want to do, heat up the whole board for about a minute, and then we're going to actually take one end and pull it gently all the way up. And it should come in one piece, hopefully. Let's try it. You're going to want to peel this grip tape off really slowly and steadily, otherwise it's going to tear and you're going to have to spend a lot of time getting it started again, which is just a pain. So I highly recommend you just slow and easy and grab the grip tape as close as you can to the board and pull it away in a slow, steady fashion. Once you get all of the grip tape off, you just take your razor blade and pick up the flex and other pieces of grip tape that were left behind. And once you do get all of the grip tape off, you're just going to want to touch up the edges with your razor blade, getting what's remaining around the edges of that grip tape. Alright, so once we do get that grip tape off, there's no real need to scrub it clean. We're going to put new grip tape on right over the top. With this particular board, I was going to be replacing all of the hardware and the trucks as well. We're going to start with that. So because I'm removing the entire truck system, I'm just going to need to remove these 4 bolts from the board. And so they're actually held in place with these nuts. These 4 nuts I'm going to actually hold in place with this crescent wrench. While I go at the bolts, they're actually is that an Allen wrench or hex Allen wrench? And from the front, excuse me, I got both of these at my local hardware store. I highly recommend Ace, if not simply for their product selection, also for their incredible customer service. So thank you, Ace Hardware, for making this all possible. I'm going to take this apart now. Oh no. Okay. So you might run into an issue where the thing is actually stripped, in which case that does present an issue. Luckily I do have what is needed, which is a hacksaw. So I'll get the rest and then I'll loosen it what I can, and then we're chopping that thing in half. So one of these bolts is actually stuck, hung up in there. It's not held by a nut anymore. So I'm going to use this as a push pin and this as a hammer and try to knock it out while hitting myself. Told you. So I found two bolts, excuse me, that were stripped. So that means that I'm going to have to remove it using this. It's a hacksaw. So I'm just going to cut through the plastic, cut through the metal, cut through everything, and then smash the piece of hardware out the other side. And then we will have our board ready. The old hardware can go in the garbage. You know, I did just decide I think it'd be smarter to just cut through right here. This thing is actually a little bit stripped and worn as well, so this is going to be an issue. Don't mind. I do live in an urban area, so don't mind. If I run into that same issue with my new hardware, it's going to be a problem. Perfect. It's a Phillips. This isn't even gonna be an issue whatsoever. We're rocking and rolling. That's all that mattered. Just get it off, right? Whew. So what happened there is I was able to actually cut it. I didn't have to go all the way through because I just applied pressure by bending it, which allowed it to create a stress fracture and break itself. As you can see, I got all of the hardware off the board, and I'm just going to clean it up and get it ready for the new hardware coming on. Hey, I got my new wheels, new bearings, all the hardware that I'm going to need. I'm going to attach the wheels to the trucks only after I complete their own assembly and attach the trucks then to the board. So I'm going to assemble the wheels, attach those to the trucks, and then attach the trucks to the board itself. All my 4 wheels, my bearings, and my hardware. I got it off Amazon. Everything just came in the little package here. So I'm looking for all 4 of these little bad boys to help me make the bearings. Set these aside for later for when we attach the trucks to the board. So I'm just gonna get at this and get at these wheels here, okay? I went with the black color choice, just trying to spruce up the board a little bit. Right, so what we want to do is get the spacer into the wheel here, and then 2 bearings on either side. So you get the first bearings in there, and then the spacer, you want it to line up with the actual truck, like this here. And then you get your other bearing. Oops. And that is going to be the tricky part. Just want to get it lined up like this. Second bearing. We want to fasten it securely in its housing. Here. Like that, and then the spacer is able to freely move, so you can shake it around and get it into place when you do want to attach it to the truck. I'm going to do this with all 4. So now that I got all of the wheels assembled, I can now attach them to the trucks. And I did order all of this as a set from Amazon, so the trucks did actually come pre-assembled. Those are pretty simple enough to put together. I can show you that another time. I'm just going to show you how I'm assembling this wheel assembly to the trucks, and then we will assemble the trucks to the board. So with this particular truck, it has the 2 washers on the truck itself already, and it has the nut. I'm just going to loosen the nut, take one of the washers off, slide one washer back, so I have the one here. I'm going to slide it back. I'm going to take a wheel, and I'm going to slide it through that spacer and through to the other side. I'm going to put on that other washer, and then I'm going to tighten up the nut. And I'll repeat for the other side. And then I just repeat this process for my remaining wheels. So the spacer did get hung up in there. See, it's not completely off. Yeah, perfect. See that? So I'm going to use a screw and just fish it to center where it needs to be. Should be able to shoot the gap now. And now a washer. And the nut. My washer got hung up. There we go. Okay, I'll address that in a second, but it looked like my nut was getting hung up. If I had a nickel for every time I said that. Alright, I'll do the last one here, get that sort of tapped into place. I'm just tapping it with my middle finger underneath. Get it in place, and I'm just going to slide it on. Put the washer, there's a nut. And it is hung up, but it's just the way it wants to be. Which means I might need to get a ratchet and a socket and get that into place for sure, because I don't know if I'm enjoying that. But that is our assembled trucks. I fixed this by using a vice grip and just diving on in there, but you could have used a socket with the right size as well. You don't want to screw it on too tight. You want to have some play, right? But not maybe so much like this. So I'm going to tighten that up, as well as these ones. I mean, I think this one's pretty ridiculous. So I want to tighten these up some. We're going to apply the grip tape now. I ordered some awesome grip tape off of Amazon. Black diamond, and it's got gold sparkle to it. I'm pretty stoked about it, to be honest with you. I've never had grip tape like this before. I'm Actually, I haven't seen it, and I'm fucking stoked about this. Oh my god! This could totally be better lighting, I understand. Working with what we got here today. So I'm just going to take the grip tape and remove the back. I know that it's long enough, and I'm going to give myself enough on this side to be able to not run into problems. So I'm actually going to remove all of the backing at the same time. Okay. Now, boards are concave, right? So we don't want to run into issues with air bubbles. Again, I'm using my finger here underneath to make contact with the board, as I then know how much I need. Now, making contact with the board is nice, but we don't want to have air bubbles. And the secret to that is angle it towards yourself. You can actually see the angle in my paper here, and you want to hold it up higher as well. Trying to avoid all of the issues of air bubbles. And I like to kind of pat it right where that tape meets the board. And you want to make sure that you give yourself enough room on each side. Okay. You want to pat that down and keep that angle. Oh, this grip tape's super pretty. So happy with my purchase. Awesome. Cool. So, once you get it applied and you don't have you've got no air bubbles because you held it correctly. Now, what we can do is we need to score it so that we know where to cut it with our razor blade. We don't want to just rush in all willy-nilly, right? So, step one, apply it with no air bubbles. Using that angle and using our fingers to identify where we're at, and definitely giving us enough overlap so that when we cut it, we're not running into issues. I like to just simply use a regular old screwdriver, anything to make a marking on the edge of the board. You're going to rough up the sandpaper, you're going to rough up the grip tape. It's going to leave behind a line for which you can use to trace with your razor blade. So you're going to score it, and then you're going to use that line to cut with the razor blade. You don't want to go over and over and over again, because the wider your line is, the less accurate you're going to be with the razor blade. So you just want one quick and smooth score. I use a fair amount of pressure. Make sure that that highlights there. Okay. You can see an outline coming. It almost looks like a skateboard. The tip is a little tricky. Perfect. Now you can kind of see an outline of a board. We're going to use that outline to cut the grip tape. Now there's a trick to this. I'm going to be making contact with the board with my finger as I cut up and through at a 45-degree angle through this. And I'll start at the tip and work my way through. Just a nice smooth cut as you make contact with the board. And the blade. When you come to the end, I usually just do like that. Sort of start anew on the other side. Make it around this way here. And just follow your line. Black grip tape is the easier one to see, as that white line is going to show up quite a bit better. So we're looking like a longboard now. And so you want to have it be straight around these curves, and with it sticking to me, it is becoming a little bit of a issue. Okay, so now I have my board. Oh, geez. Okay. That is seriously some schnazzy paper. So what I like to do now, take a slice of it. Right? Fold it up onto itself. And then I'm going to just score it again around the edges. Ooh, but first, I want to just run my fingers along and make sure I've made some straight cuts. I know that I'm going to run into issues in the ends here, so I'm just going to doctor up these ends. Got the ends fixed up. I'm going to take the rough side of the paper and actually just work the edges. There we go. Looks beautiful. And that is how you apply the grip tape. Now the last thing that I would be doing is poking holes in through so we can apply the hardware. And so I just go actually from the other side. I'm just going to use this thing like this. You can use anything to punch a hole through there. You just stab it through. And then this is where decisions matter. We're going to go with these ones. Then I like to flip it over and then just stuff those back down in, and this way it's easier to install the hardware. There we go. And that is a completed grip tape. So, now that we got the grip tape on, we can now apply the hardware, the trucks. So I put my spacer in here. I'm sorry, my riser in here. Excuse me, what am I at here? All right. And the way I always like to do it is actually get my screws put in first. This makes it a lot easier to get things done when they're all facing up. Okay, clean off the pillars. I'm going to put on my riser. Make sure your nut is pointing out and apply that as well. Cool? Now, get my nuts started. And these are absolutely the pain part of this experience. So I'm just going to get these nuts secured with my screwdriver. With my screwdriver and my pliers or my crescent wrench. Okay. To take grip tape off, you're going to need a hair dryer and a razor blade of some kind. To get the hardware off of this, I was very prepared with my set of Allen wrenches and my crescent wrench. I was not expecting to, but I did have to use that hacksaw and I just used a small screwdriver as a punch, and then I did use the pliers as a grip, as well as a sort of makeshift hammer. Alright, so after I got all of those 4 nuts and bolts attached, we do have the trucks on, and we've got some nice bearings going. That is how you can customize your longboard. I should slap on some stickers for before and after. Awesome. Thank you guys, gals, and non-binary pals for watching this video. Be sure and like, share, and subscribe. But for sure subscribe, right? And hit that bell so you know when my new stuff's coming out every week. See you there.